Hello, I hope you are doing very well today and having a great week. I want to share a quick update on where mortgage rates are right now and what I've personally been seeing in the Spokane housing market over the last few weeks. So to start out with a quick recap on mortgage rates, I think there's a big misconception around what the Federal Reserve does with their interest rate and how mortgage rates correlate to that. So in general, the Federal Reserve rate does not directly affect mortgage rates. And how we have seen that play out over the last couple of months is at the end of September, the Fed had one of their big meetings and they dropped their interest rate by 0.25%. Now, the Monday, Tuesday before the Fed meeting, mortgage rates came down to about a 6.15% range, which is the lowest point that we've seen in 3 years. And then the Fed meeting comes out on Wednesday, they drop their rate, and mortgage rates are just reactionary. So they actually bumped back up Wednesday afternoon to Thursday, up to about the 6.35% range, which is where we are now. Same thing with the last Fed meeting last Wednesday, end of October. The Federal Reserve came out, they lowered their interest rate 0.25%, but they said that they are not, or they very likely will not be dropping their rate again this year, which they did signal in September. So because of that, mortgage rates have actually bumped up to about the 6.35 to 6.4 range this week. Now, I know a lot of news headlines do not make that clarification that the Fed dropping their rate is not directly tied to exactly what mortgage rates do. It is positive though. I mean, rates are lower now than they were in the summer highs of about 6.9 to 7%. So it's good to see some relief. I just don't know if it'll be as much relief through the end of this year as people were really expecting. Now, what I've personally been seeing in the Spokane housing market over the last 6 to 7 weeks has been a really big slowdown. So if you look at the whole year, this year has stayed pretty flat line, not a huge adjustment to price, inventory, things like that. It's been kind of a bland year. But over the last 6 to 7 weeks, I've really noticed a slowdown with activity on listings, with buyers out there that I've been talking with, other agents and lenders I've been talking with, the amount of loan applications lenders are getting, the amount of buyers that agents are actively working with. There just seems to be a big slowdown from buyers, which does ultimately affect prices, inventory levels, things like that. So the stats for the October numbers for the Spokane MLS just came out today. This month, October of 2025, we saw a 1.3% decline in the median home price, which isn't a huge drop, but we have seen typically about a 1% appreciation. This was one of the first months that we've really seen a negative by 1.3%. Now we also are seeing sales down by 3.9%, so almost 4% in lower sales compared to 2024. So it does show that over the last year, or at least this October, was quite a bit slower than 2024 was. Now we can also see this getting affected with inventory being up. So right now we're at a 3.2 month supply of inventory, which means that if no new listings hit the market over the next 3.2 months, on average, all of the active listings would be sold. Now anything below a 6 months of inventory is generally considered a seller's market, and everything over a 6 month supply of inventory is generally considered a buyer's market. However, during 2020 and 2021 in Spokane, we had at one point about 11 days worth of inventory. Now we're at 3.2 months worth of inventory. So things have definitely slowed down. There's more inventory out there. Last month, October, we saw prices take a bit of a hit. I'm very interested to see what happens through the rest of this fourth quarter of 2025. I do think that quarterly we will see this quarter getting hit on prices more so than we have. I think that this winter is going to be a pretty slow time in the market, but there's a lot of opportunities for buyers. I've had several buyer clients lately who have had very good luck getting lowball offers accepted, getting repair requests made by sellers, having longer closings if they want to. So I think right now, if you know anybody buying a home, it's a really good time for buying. And just for a quick recap on numbers, for about a $400,000 loan amount, at the current interest rate of about 6.37%, the monthly payment before taxes and insurance is looking about $2,500 a month. So if you know anybody looking to buy a house, I think over this winter there will be some good opportunity. Let me know if you have any questions. As always, I'm very happy to help, and I hope you have a great holiday season.